There's no doubt that was a bad series. That was brutal. Before we begin, Happy Easter. Happy Easter. I hope everyone had a great time with their family today. It's a nice day to get together, relax, and what I did, hung out, watched some Phillies baseball with some fam, and it was bad. It was bad. This series sucked. We go 1-3 in Colorado. Not ideal. Absolutely not ideal. We got some help because teams like the Mets, they weren't very successful with the Cardinals, so we got some help. But at the same time, this was a chance to maybe make a statement and kind of get a little bit of a lead here. And we didn't do that. We failed to do that. And now we go into Citi Field next, which makes it even a little bit worse. Let's be real. So, the Phillies, 4-1, they were terrible offensively, horrible offensively, could not get anything going. Literally, Jon Gray on the bump today for the Rockies, and he allowed one hit in his 6 innings. He was great, the offense just struggled, but I'll say this, at the same time as Jon Gray did great, this lineup right now, due to injuries, I know it's not to the level of the New York Yankees injuries, but this lineup, it's just not scary. It's nowhere near as scary as it could be. McCutchen, Cesar Hernandez, Harper, Hoskins. Okay, Cesar at the 2-hole compared to being in the 7th, that's a big difference. Then you hit Franco, Quinn, Gosling, and Knapp. It's not the same level of intensity. This doesn't scare pitchers. There's not much we can do, honestly, because of the fact of injuries, but it just sucks. And I rip Knapp apart because he is probably the worst backup catcher in Major League Baseball, and today he gets 3 walks and a double, and was actually one of the runs, the only run, was one of the reason why we scored 1 run in the 9th inning, because he doubled. And then, how about this? JT Realmuto, one of our actual starters, knocks him in, ironically enough. But it comes down to the lineup's just nowhere near as deep. There's not as much protection in the middle of the lineup as when there is a real structure together with McCutchen, Gene Segura, Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, JT Realmuto. Like, Cesar Hernandez is batting 2nd, but he normally bats 7th. And Franco has to bat 5th, but he normally bats 8th. It changes everything when it comes to pitching at this lineup, and it just sucks. Today was miserable watching this team try to approach the game at the plate. It was horrible. On top of that, you have guys like Cesar Hernandez making idiotic base running mistakes that literally costed us 1 to 2 runs. He's running through second. He thinks he's out. He starts jogging off the field. I mean, what the hell is going on? That's a brutal mental mistake that you can't have in Major League Baseball. You have to be better, because at the time, that could have been the difference of having the lead or tying up the game, which we never got to do, because at that point we were playing from behind the rest of the way. Such a crucial moment, and it could have potentially cost us the game, because who knows how it would have played out once it was a tied ball game. But looking for the Phillies pitching staff today, Jared Eickhoff was on the mound, and his stat line read 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs. He walked 4. He had 8 Ks. It wasn't bad. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll take that over Nick Pivetta any day. It wasn't bad, but the one thing I noticed between someone, say, like Nick Pivetta and Jared Eickhoff, is he seemed more comfortable. It seemed like he had more confidence. Nick Pivetta is fragile. You don't know. The body language is bad. Jared Eickhoff, I'll take that, honestly. For a 5th starter, I'll take that. I think he did enough to put us in a position to win a baseball game. Let's say it like that. He wasn't horrendous. He wasn't outstanding, but he's your 5th guy, and I would take that out of Jared Eickhoff. He could be better, let's say that. We'll take better, but it wasn't his fault why we didn't win. It's clearly the offense. We finished with 5 hits, but literally had 2 throughout the majority of this baseball game. Austin Davis came in after him, and it wasn't anything spectacular either. We did have to get out of some jams. In the 7th inning, they had bases loaded. In the 8th inning, they had bases loaded. It was just not a good day for Phillies baseball. Bryce Harper was hitting balls that just hit the warning track this close to going out, but not enough. I thought this was Coors Field. I thought these things were going to fly out of the ball park as soon as you put a little bit of air underneath of it. But I guess not. They must have lied to me. I need some coffee. It's late, too. I mean, it's late. This is the after the family dessert coffee, you know? But what is there to say? What is there to say? It's as simple as this. It was a bad series, right? It was a bad series, but that's going to happen. You're going to have a series where you go on the road and you don't have your best performance. You go on the road and you don't play to the level that you should. Keep in mind, injuries are an issue right now, but that's not an excuse. You need to step up. You need to be better. You need to have your lineup be better. Here's your chance for some of these guys to prove. And, it wasn't good enough today, and it's going to happen. But now I'm going to take a look at this and say, I can't change what happened in Colorado. I can't sit here and make it change and switch it around. It is what it is. It wasn't great. In a 4-game set, we won one baseball game, and we were one pitch away from winning another. But how do we respond? There you go. That's fair. That's fair. That's okay. That's the way I look at this. How are we going to approach a huge Mets series in their ballpark after we did our damage at home? After we took the series at home in 3 battles, how do we respond from this brutal series out in Colorado and handle business in a huge divisional series? And I think that's the right mentality to do it. You can cry about what happened in Colorado. You can be really upset. Cool. That's great. I am, but I have to move on because there's a lot more games to be played. You're not going to win every series. Let's see how this thing plays out. Now, we get lucky with the Mets because we missed DeGrom. That's huge. We missed DeGrom. We start with Jake Arrieta, someone who has clearly been hot right now, someone who has performed at a really decent level for us, and realistically, we can argue that he might be the one right now in the Phillies rotation because we don't know what Aaron Nola is. So to get an Arrieta start, an Eflin start, and a Vince Velasquez start, I'll take that. I'll go into Citi Field with that all day long. So down below, I want to know your thoughts on this brutal Game 4 here where we lose 4-1 and our offense can't get going. What are your thoughts on this lineup? Because it's nowhere near as powerful as it was with Segura in there, and with Franco at 8, and with Cesar at 7. It realistically is not scary anymore at this moment in time. And you can't deny that. McCutchen, Cesar, Harper Reese, Franco, Quinn, Gosling, Knapp. Keep in mind, JT got an off day because it's Sunday and you put your backup catcher in. I get all that. I just think Andrew Knapp is probably the worst backup catcher in the major leagues as he gets on 4 times. It's funny that I say that. Speaking of getting on 4 times, Charlie Blackmon, I mentioned it last time. He was so awesome last game. But ever since that walk-off dinger, he's been electric, and he had another 3-hit day, and he was walked as well. So he was on base 4 times today. I'll tell you, man, it takes one game. It takes one swing of the bat to really get things grooving. But then again, you can counter-argue and say it takes one strikeout to make it all go the opposite way, too, and that's reality. Listen, we played a lot of baseball over the last however many days without a break, and we have a huge series coming up. Right now, the Braves are playing Sunday night baseball, and they're up early. The Nationals beat the Marlins today. So I take a look every day at these standings. I take a look every single day, and I say, okay, how are we gonna keep ahead of the game? How are we going to stay in first place in the division? That's very important to me. And there's nothing bigger than a Mets series, especially after handling business at home and playing them in pretty recent time here for them to remember the pain. Remember the pain of that first inning where we scored 10 runs. They're not going to forget that. But I am thrilled that we missed DeGrom. There's no denying that. I love this team. I do. But they need to clean some things up. That Cesar Hernandez thing, that's unacceptable. And I'm curious to see how Gabe Kapler handles it. Because this is a different mentality this year. They even said about it in the not preseason, what is it called for baseball? I'm drawing a huge blank. Spring training. This is a different team. You can be you can be yourself, but we have a different mentality this year, and they're going to be holding people accountable. Well, he needs to be held accountable for this action. You can't have a base running mistake like that. This isn't Little League. That was brutal. And this is a guy fighting for a spot right now. This is the difference of keeping your spot or not when, say, Scott Kingery comes back. And Cesar needs to know that. That was a crucial part of this game. That's when it was only a 1-run game and we're just playing dumb baseball. And it clearly costed us a minimum of 1 run. Could have been 2, depending on how people advanced and what occurred later on in that inning. That's reality. So, listen, it is what it is. 1-3 in a 4-game set. I didn't think it would be to this degree. I thought minimum it would be 2-2. But this Rockies team is playing hot. There's no denying it. This Rocky team has won 6 of their last 7 games. They're playing with a different mentality right now. And Arenado came back in the lineup, and he showed what he is. He's awesome at third base. Must-watch television out of him when it comes to playing defense and playing offense, of course. But he comes back in the lineup, and he helps his baseball team win a game. They're hot right now, and there's no denying it. So we move on. But I want to know your thoughts down below on Eickhoff, the lineup, the series, and moving forward here, we got the Mets, and it's no doubt a huge one. Bad baseball is tough to watch. Great baseball is amazing. But when it's ugly, whew, slow, hideous, horrible. It's horrible to watch when it's ugly. There's no denying that. I'm telling you, throughout the majority of this baseball game, we had 2 hits. 2 hits. Like, what could Jared Eickhoff do at that point, you know? That's how I see it. So I didn't mind what I saw at Eickhoff. That's reality. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.